It was Solzhenitsyn who truly shamed the radical leftists, forcing them underground, where they have festered and plotted for the last 40 years, failing unforgivably to have learned what all reasonable people should have learned from the cataclysm of the 20th century and its egalitarian utopianism. And today, despite everything, and under their sway, almost 3 decades since the fall of the Berlin Wall and the apparent collapse of communism, we are doing everything we can to forget what Solzhenitsyn so clearly demonstrated, to our great and richly deserved peril. Why don't all our children read the Gulag Archipelago in our high schools, as they now do in Russia? Why don't our teachers feel compelled to read the book aloud? Did we not win the Cold War? Were the bodies not piled high enough? How high then would be enough? Why, for example, is it still acceptable and in polite company to profess the philosophy of a communist, or if not that, to at least admire the work of Marx? Why is it still acceptable to regard the Marxist doctrine as essentially accurate in its diagnosis of the hypothetical evils of the free market democratic West? To still consider that doctrine progressive and fit for the compassionate and proper thinking person? 25 million dead through internal repression in the Soviet Union, according to the Black Book of Communism. 60 million dead in Mao's China, and an all too likely return to autocratic oppression in that country in the near future. The horrors of Cambodia's killing fields with their 2 million corpses. The barely animate body politic of Cuba, where people struggle even now to feed themselves. Venezuela, where it has now been made illegal to attribute a child's death in hospital to starvation. No political experiment has ever been tried so widely, with so many disparate people in so many different countries, with such different histories, and failed so absolutely and catastrophically. Perhaps we cannot comprehend the limitations and dangers of the utopian vision, given our definite need to contemplate and to strive for a better tomorrow. We certainly don't seem to imagine, for example, that the hypothesis of some state of future perfection, for example, the truly egalitarian and permanent brotherhood of man, can be used to justify any and all sacrifices whatsoever. The pristine and heavenly end making all conceivable means not only acceptable, but morally required. There is simply no price too great to pay in pursuit of the ultimate utopia. And this is particularly true if it is someone else who foots the bill.